Hey, it's the real you calling. Welcome home. What would your life look like if you stopped second guessing yourself, stopped playing small, and finally broke free from the cycles that have kept you stuck? Well, that's what the Ignite Momentum Practicum is all about. It's a 6 week transformational coaching experience designed to help you break through people pleasing, self doubt, and codependency once and for all. And here's the best part, you get to choose your path. You can matriculate through the one on one accelerator. It's private, high touch coaching, you and me one on one. Weekly breakthrough calls, a custom action plan, deep mindset work, and real time support to help you reclaim your power and rebuild your confidence. Option two is the group intensive. This is where transformation meets community. Weekly live sessions with a cohort of like-minded individuals, hot seat coaching, Q&A, bonus trainings, and a space where you're truly seen and supported without judgment. So whether you want personalized guidance or collective energy, the Ignite Momentum Practicum gives you the tools, structure, and support to stop circling the same patterns and start building unstoppable momentum. Ready to take the next step? Schedule your momentum call now at ignitingmomentum.co. That's ignitingmomentum.co. You'll find all the details there. You're not here to shrink, you're here to rise. Welcome back to Rising from the Shadows, the podcast where we discuss all things healing from trauma, reclaiming power, and thriving beyond the shadows of our past. I'm your host, Marlon Wesh. I'm a keynote speaker, momentum coach, and a U.S. Marine Corps veteran, helping men lift the fog of people-pleasing and codependency to reclaim their power and live life on their terms. Today, I'm thrilled to bring you another conversation with my guest, Glynis Collins. Glynis is a survivor of narcissistic abuse and generational trauma. Through her healing journey, she's become passionate about raising awareness around domestic violence, narcissistic abuse, and the deep wounds rooted in childhood. Her mission is to empower others to reclaim their voices, break the cycle, and find
Thank you
real
for having
healing.
me, Marlon.
Glynis, welcome to the
I'm
show.
glad to be here.
My pleasure. My pleasure. So I just read your bio, and I know about your mission today of empowering others to reclaim their voices in the wake of healing from narcissistic abuse. But there was a time when you yourself felt voiceless and powerless. What was the journey from that
Wow.
version of you to today's
When I
version?
first even knew what narcissistic abuse was and all the trauma that I had endured, once you gain the clarity, the waters become clearer. It started from birth. When I was ripped away from my birth mother, or I don't know the full story, and then adopted into a narcissistic family. I didn't know they were narcissistic at the time. I just knew that I didn't feel safe. I was scared all the time. My emotional regulation was off the charts, and it just through the healing process, I realized my whole life has been like that, just operating out of trauma. And the question again, I'm sorry, was
Just to share, like, what was the
right.
journey from, that Glynis
Okay.
who was scared all the time, never felt safe, just operating from a place of trauma to today where you
Yes.
have your voice, you feel
Thank you.
empowered,
Like
and
I
you're
said, I
able to
get
make
the brain
decisions that make
fog
sense for
from,
you.
still being in the healing process. I forget, I get very nervous and like
Same,
operating on that
same.
trauma. So thank you for that reminder. Just my intuition kept your body will tell you when something's not right. And I kept ignoring that, and I kept having nightmares. Um, Knew that I didn't feel safe with this last person I was with for 7 years, and knew that I deserved better, but that trauma bond just kept me connected, because we have those same brain chemicals as somebody coming off of a drug. Because narcissists they are a drug. It's that cortisol and the
Right.
dopamine and the push and the pull and the hot and the cold. And it is so hard to break away from that. And I don't know, just one morning I woke up and I said, enough is enough. And I told him to leave. It was right before we were going to work, and we work at the same company. And I just felt a sense of empowerment behind me. I don't know where it came from. It's just like I had forces behind me so strong that I knew I was doing the right thing. And ever since then, it's been a daily working, very messy, because healing isn't linear. It's up and down. You'll feel strong one day, then you'll feel weak and crying. You don't want to get out of bed. And it's just sitting with the feelings is one of the
Mm.
hardest things, because we all run from that. We don't like to feel pain. Nobody does. And that's where that cheap dopamine comes in, people overworking or working out too much or spending, or addictions come in all different forms. And I never knew that before. I always thought, oh, it's drugs and alcohol. They're an addict. I was an addict. I was addicted, the people pleasing, because you want that
Right.
love outside of yourself that you didn't receive as a child. And once I realized that, now I have come so far. It's going on 9 months now that I've been out of that 7 year long abusive relationship with the narcissist. And, realizing that I am worth it, that I just have to keep protecting my peace no matter what, and really hyper vigilant to the way people are. Like, I can read people pretty quickly, like that. And their energy is, wow, I don't like that energy.
Yeah.
I'm walking
Yeah.
away, or just leave it as a very surface relationship. I've pretty much had to cut off a lot of people and start from ground zero, including family. That was extremely hard and painful
Mm.
for me. My grandchildren, even, because my daughter
Yeah.
was abusing me. And I didn't raise her like that. I know that I had some toxic traits that I am more than willing to own, coming from that with the tools that I didn't have. No, I did the best that I could. And I realized that through the generations, our parents probably did that too, the best that they could, because if you don't wake up, you don't know, because you can't see. There's no self awareness. Self awareness is so important, because if you don't think there's a problem, you can't fix anything. And so it just keeps repeating itself. So I forgot. Here comes the brain fog again. The train got stuck. So whatever you want to
Mm.
ask or pick up on, because that fog is set in.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep this part in the episode because I think it's something that people just don't understand, that how
Oh,
narcissistic
totally.
abuse rewires your brain. Um, I have an excellent memory. I have always had an excellent memory. I'm the type of person that I'll
Wow.
remember exactly what you were wearing the day that I met you. Um, I have always had fairly impressive vocabulary. I grew up reading books, and when I tell you, I forget the
Hmm.
most simple words right now. I will remember details long ago in the past, but I will totally
Right.
forget day to day things. It's just like my memory is shot, and this is one of the after the effects of narcissistic abuse on your nervous system, especially when you're out of that situation. Your body shuts down to get better. Because you haven't rested for years and years and years and years. You're in a constant state of hypervigilance, and now when you're out of that, your body just like so
Yes.
it's like a laptop that's working on bare minimum power. Um, and that's definitely been my experience. Another
Hmm.
experience of mine is that people are dismissive uh, about victims' claims of abuse because at worst they think that the relationship may have had some toxic behavior, but nothing that would rise to the level of abuse. What's the real story behind or about covert narcissism, and how, in your view, is it
Oh
different
my
from just
gosh,
a
it's so
toxic
this last
relationship?
relationship, I have never been with anybody like him. I've been in toxic relationships that were abusive, but the covert, it's like toxic on steroids. Just the tactics that they use and how calculated and smooth they are with things. He was so very helpful. The love bombing is out of this world. I thought this, wow, this guy's really into me. You know, he did things that nobody's ever done for me. And I found out now that they use kindness as a weapon.
Mhm.
They will go above and beyond over here so they can distract you over here and what they're doing behind your back. And also the gaslighting is hardcore. I mean, it is, and they are so
It's
convincing. He
insane.
was
It's
really
insane.
convincing. Like there was a Sprint phone bill, and he tried to convince me that something was incorrect on the Sprint phone bill. It involved cheating with a supply. Um, Saying something as simple as, I did not call her first, but the Sprint phone bill clearly showed that. And he said, are you going to believe the Sprint phone bill over me? And I said, yes, I'm not letting this go. And but for a moment, he had me doubting. He really did that. Wow, maybe I need to call Sprint. Maybe they did make a mistake, and
Yeah.
it's insane. That and when you said that you were a veteran, I recently discovered. I did a video on this on my TikTok that there was a veteran that went to some of the most elite training, military schools and saw, the combat that he had been in. And he would rather choose that than to have gone through the narcissistic abuse that he endured. The
Yeah.
CTP PTSD is so severe. It's the same as when
Yeah.
you and I, or anybody goes through that narcissistic abuse
Yeah.
and the brain scans, they have brain scans that shows this. And that just blew my mind. And when so people say they're so
Yeah.
dismissive, they have no clue. It's like, I don't
Yeah.
even know how do you explain it within 5 minutes when people say, oh, just get over it. It's just a bad relationship. Or my ex was telling all my coworkers, oh, it
Right.
just didn't
Right.
work out. It's more than it's not didn't work out. It was and a
Yeah.
lot of people, because I used to think this, that abuse was just physical. Um, I know it's not just physical, and the psychological
Right.
warfare that goes with narcissistic abuse is so much worse because you can't see it. They trick others so easily. They have their flying monkeys. And it's you can't describe how that makes you feel unless you've been in it. So people can't possibly understand. It's just
Mhm. Yeah. Everything you say is true. So I was diagnosed with PTSD, complex PTSD, and one of the things that I talk about is, I'm very open about my family of origin. They were extremely abusive physically. There was religious trauma. I grew up in a cult. I was beat bloody so many times to the point where, my dad would tell me don't step out the house when he was going off for work because he didn't want anybody to see my face and like call the cops. Um, I was sexually molested by a family member. I've been hungry, homeless, like all these horrible things that you would think would be so traumatic that would, put a stop in my sales. None of them did. None of them did. I had a successful career in the Marine Corps. I went to college. I got my undergrad. I did my MBA. I purchased a home. I started a business. I was a present father, present, like literally nothing, no trauma of my past
mhm,
ever made me skip a
right.
beat except for this thing except for this thing. It is the only thing, and I've been in some type of therapeutic setting since I was 19 years old. I'm 38 today. It is literally the only thing that required me to have
Wow.
pharmaceutical intervention to get by.
Mhm.
It is the only thing. And people, yeah, people don't understand the level, like the gaslighting is insane. I remember when I first started this program, I started it off with telling my story. And it was very much like a healing process for me to just kind of like figure out in real time what was happening to me and what it meant for me and my life moving forward. And early on, like, my ex-partner was obsessed about shutting this down. Like, it didn't matter where any interaction, where we went through mediation, she would bring it up.
Mhm.
Like, it slipped out that was like the
Exposure.
thing that she
Yeah.
cared about. Like, stop talking bad about me. I it's all about exposure. Her family members are popping up all over my socials. I'm blocking here. And if it's not on my TikTok or my Instagram, it's on my LinkedIn. And I'm like seeing and I'm screenshotting all these
It's like,
people that
"Ooh,
are like,
ooh,
and I'm
ooh,
like
ooh."
blocking as fast as I can because I'm not trying to interact with them. Like they're not, they're yeah, they keep popping up, making fake profiles and stuff. So um um and it came to the point, it's like I don't um I did HR in the Marines, and it was one of the things that they say is
Mhm.
trust but verify, right? So documentation is everything. I document out of the woods. It saved me in my work as a professional, and like
Mhm.
so I don't just say things. Like I have proof of things, and um, and so I've said quite clearly, like if I am just recently I was in an interaction. Um, where they were present and they were saying like all of a sudden it's like, Marlon has his truth. I don't want to take away from his truth, but we have different ideas of what happened. Marlon's been saying lies about me on his podcast, and I was like, if I'm lying, sue me for defamation. If I'm lying, sue me, and I
Mhm.
welcome it. I welcome it because there's a little thing called discovery.
And you got
If
the
I'm
receipts.
lying, prove it. Prove it. And they don't want that, but the receipts, and they don't want that, and that's why they just say like they're
Right.
lying, but they have nothing to back up to say like they're lying. And I before I became very clear on like what was happening, I would, like, go back and say,
Right,
like, "Am I
right,
making
right,
this
right.
up? Did I not?" I'm going back in my journals, October 14th, 2021. "No, I said this, like, there's no way I'm making like, am I imagining did I just dream this happened and
The
didn't
crazy
happen?"
making, yes.
Yes, they're so good at making you think you're crazy, and thank God for my habit of journaling, or else it would have just all been in
You would've
here, and
shoved
I
it
would
out.
have
Mhm.
truly doubted my reality. Um I would have shut it out just to survive. You had a video, and I laughed at it.
Oh,
The
yeah.
prompt was apologize like a narcissist would. I'll go first, and the apology was, "I'm sorry for everything. Go." And it
Right.
made me chuckle, not because it's inherently funny, but because it was spot on. I remember when I first started enforcing my boundaries and not giving free passes for poor behavior, I would get those type of apologies that would say things like, "I'm so sorry for the hurt I caused." And then I
Mhm.
would
They don't
follow up with
even
like,
know.
"What hurt did you cause?" And that's when they would stutter. They couldn't bring themselves to say the words of what they had done. Talk about how to the untrained ear, this sounds like an apology, but in our reality, it's a way to
Um,
skirt
it's a
accountability.
blanket statement. Like you said, they can't name specific situations or things that they said or did to hurt you, and genuinely, they are not sorry. They're sorry that you called them out on it. And that's the difference, because someone that truly cares about you and loves you will care when they hurt your feelings, and they will do what they can to not repeat that behavior. And that's the difference. But at a first, uh, and listening to someone, you wouldn't
Mhm.
know it to the untrained ear or someone that hasn't been through this. So I would say the answer to that is patterns. If somebody keeps repeating that sort of thing, patterns are a big hello, this is who I am, and believe them the first time.
That's and it's so interesting you said that because that was an ongoing argument
in my situation where they would say, like, you're bringing up the past, you're bringing up the past. And I was like, I'm just asking to zoom out because you're treating each of our conversations, each of our
Mhm.
disagreements as if it's an isolated thing.
If you're listening to this and you've got a story to tell, whether it's your personal story of healing and reclaiming your voice or rising from rock bottom, or you're a professional with powerful insight into trauma, identity, resilience, or transformation, then I want to hear from you. Rising from the Shadows is more than just a podcast. It's a space where truth is honored, power is reclaimed, and stories heal. If you have something to share that could empower others to stop shrinking and start rising, I'd love for you to apply to be a guest on the show. Just head to tellmystory.risingfromtheshadows.com to submit your application. Let's rise together, one voice, one breakthrough, one story at a time. If you're listening to this and you've got a story to tell, whether it's your personal story of healing and reclaiming your voice or rising from rock bottom, or you're a professional with powerful insight into trauma, identity, resilience, or transformation, then I want to hear from you. Rising from the Shadows is more than just a podcast. It's a space where truth is honored, power is reclaimed, and stories heal. If you have something to share that could empower others to stop shrinking and start rising, I'd love for you to apply to be a guest on the show. Just head to tellmystory.risingfromtheshadows.com.
If you zoom out, you see the pattern of me saying, I was going to say setting a boundary, but
Right.
I'm realizing now I wasn't setting a boundary. I was making a request for decent treatment. Me requesting decent treatment and you say like, oh yeah, and then not doing
Mhm.
it and not doing it. And it's just that was the pattern. And they hated that. They wanted to act as if this is the first time we're having this conversation. Um, but patterns is really is the thing that gives us clarity about what's going on. W- When did you realize that this isn't just human failing? Because we're all imperfect. We will hurt each other, even with the best intentions. We're going to hurt our partners and things like that. How did you come to terms with like this is not just human failing? This is a deliberate attempt to undermine my reality and
Um,
continue my
I think the
behavior without
breaking point was that
consequence.
phone bill, that Sprint phone bill that he just insisted on. That's a choice. After you keep doing those patterns, you are choosing to lie to me and to gaslight me. And how can you sit there and say that you love me when you're intentionally making the choice to lie to me, to distort my reality? That is emotional abuse. And that's when I look back, and even 9 months out, when those waters become clearer, I still make realizations about things like, wow, that's what that was. And a light bulb comes on, or you'll
Yes.
see somebody's
Yeah.
social media and there'll be a video. I'm like, wow. And then it triggers a memory of something they did or said. And it's just, we're always learning something and the waters are
Yeah.
becoming more and more filtered. It's crazy the amount that they have put us through and how bad it actually
Yeah.
was, and how angry it makes you because we were in it with a
Mhm.
pure intentions. We were in it for real, the authentic, real thing, and they were in it from the get-go with manipulation. They knew that this wasn't going to work out. That's why they have a
Yeah.
handful of supply. Because they know they're going to fail eventually, or we're going to open our eyes. And
Mhm.
it's just insane. They wash, rinse, and repeat. And until you wake up, you'll keep going through that cycle. The love bombing,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
devaluing, the when
Mhm.
they ghost you and go quiet and go off and find
Yeah.
another supply because, uh-oh, their eyes are opened a little bit. I need to go find some backup. That's their whole MO. It's insane. I used to tell him,
Mhm.
why don't you take that same effort that you're taking to lie to me and gaslight me to be honest with me? I said, you're hurting me more by lying to me and gaslighting me. than to be open and honest. I know you're human. I know you make mistakes, but the thing is, you keep making them. We even went as far as I
Mm.
encouraged him to sign up for a men's group to heal childhood trauma. And he went through the motions with that because everything with a narcissist is transactional. Check off the list. He even said that to me early on in our relationship. Give me a
Yes.
checklist. And when I do all those
Yeah.
things, you better shut your mouth, is what he said. It's just, it's mind blowing. I still can't ever, I don't think I'll ever be able to wrap my
Yeah.
mind around
Yeah.
their mind because they think so backwards from us, but they think that we think like them. So they think that we're already cheating.
That is key, right? Like, so for them, and that's why we talk about like
Yes.
a narcissist accusation is actually a projection, because the way they operate, and this is actually a gift and a curse. It's a curse when you're in the relationship with them, but when you're out and you're taking back your power, it is a blessing, because just as you said, they rinse and repeat. They are incapable of new strategy. They are incapable of it. Like, I don't know how they forget that something didn't work in the past, maybe the past month or a few weeks or whatever, but the strategy never changes. And it's really shocking to me because, like, you would think if you're a good manipulator, you're like, oh, I tried this and it's not working. Let me do something else. No, they have like three things that they do. It's like, see if an apology will work, see
Mhm.
if denying will work, and
Right.
see if an attack will work. Like, that's all it is. And they have no other strategy. No. Oh,
Right.
and number 4
And
is let time
they'll
pass
come
by,
back
see
like
if you forgot.
everything's
Maybe you're
fine and
not mad at me
dandy,
anymore. Um,
like nothing happened.
it's so wild. It's so wild to me. But yeah, that's such a blessing in a way, because then you can know and like go through the checklist and know like when it's starting, when the cycle is starting and when it's ending. And there's always
Mhm.
like a little reprieve, and then it starts again. And once you clock it, it's like it really does give you a sense of empowerment, because this is not personal. They think that
Mhm.
you are as cowardly as they are. They think that you lie
Right.
like they do, so they don't feel bad about lying. They think that's just
Mhm.
the way the world works, and they're going to get theirs first. And it's honestly like, I almost feel like it's inaccurate to say that they're
Oh, they
lying,
do.
because they
Yes.
truly do believe their stories. They truly do believe it, because like, you can't I don't know any moral person that could go through life knowing the damage that they did, and
Mhm.
knowing it, and not like shoving it down somewhere so they don't have to think about
Mhm.
it, that could survive, because it's tremendous damage. You have to convince yourself your version of the story, regardless of what proof exists out there. Like, you're gonna just continue saying your version of the story. Um, Even us talking about this right now, I feel like we can never give it justice about how torturous it is. I think a lot of people ask the question, um, why would you stay for so long if it was as bad as you say? And this seems
Mhm.
to, people on the outside, they seem to always have that question. A lot of them say it to themselves. Some of them are as bold to say it, out loud to you. It's like, well, if it was so bad, like, why did you stay? You did 7 years, 12 years with this person. Like, if it was bad all that time, like, I mean, you seemed happy. Why did you keep
Mhm.
having kids with them? Like, there's, all these things that, and I'm talking about your closest friends, family members, or what have you. Um, it seems like people are just um, immune to believing victims first. Why do you think that victims of narcissistic abuse, like you and me, stay for so long and even
It's
appear
that trauma
happy
bond.
doing so.
It's, you know, the being addicted to them, the being addicted to, you want them to be that good person that love bombed you, because they can be very, very loving, very sweet. That the narcissist I was with was very affectionate. You know, he'd always hold my hand and walk with me. He did chores around the house. He helped me with finances. I've never been in a relationship
If
like
this
that
podcast
before.
speaks to you, if you're on the path of healing, reclaiming your voice, or just trying to piece together who you really are after surviving the unthinkable, I want to invite you into a space where you don't have to do it alone. Join our Facebook group created for survivors, cycle breakers, and people rebuilding themselves from the inside out. In there, we go deeper. Weekly prompts, live streams, raw conversations, and a whole lot of people who just get it. No pretending, no pressure, just truth, growth, and community. Search Rising from the Shadows, The Path to Reclaiming You on Facebook, or hit the link in the show notes to join the
And
community.
where even after he tried to use finances to keep me baited, so he had access to me after I left him, you know, offering to pay for the insurance on my pickup truck. And I shut that down real quick and I said, no, I got it handled. I'm good. Because they do
Mm,
have that loving side of them,
mhm,
and
mhm.
they have a good, the mask, the performance that they put on, and people don't realize it's not always bad. It's the hot and the cold and the push and the pull, and all they see is our videos saying, you
Right,
know, all the
right.
damage that they did to us, but there's a whole other side to that, the love bombing side. It's the cycle. The love bombing continues in the wash machine around in the
Yeah,
relationship. And that's the part people don't see or understand, you know, and all the brain chemicals. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's just so true because if you have that empathy and you want to believe people can change and they can be better, and like of course people make mistakes, so you're like, all right, let's try again. This is important to me. This relationship is important to me. Um, what you mentioned about the financial thing, like that just made me remember something now. Like almost immediately after separation, and we were separating our where we were living and stuff like that. Their family had means to set them up in an apartment, prior to our finances being separate and stuff like that. And so they did that for them. And I don't have family that I'm in contact with, so like everything was on my own. And they continue to try to
Mhm.
appear helpful, or one of the phrase that they you would say all the time is like, I really want us I
Yes.
really want what's best for you, and I want us to
Hmm.
both be able to go forward in our lives, blah blah blah. And they would say it's like, oh, my uncle offered to pay for like a down payment on an apartment for you and stuff like that, and like offering money here or stuff like that. And I didn't even answer that. I just ignored it. Like, no, you're not going to tie me up with any like, oh, look how great I am. I'm helping you out. I know it's hard
Yes.
for you
Kindness is
too.
a
So let me
weapon.
see if I can help
Yep.
you.
Yep.
It's just block, 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 block. It's the weapon. It's the weapon. Um, and um, and
Yes.
there's always something attached to it. uh, and today I'm proud that of myself that I didn't accept any help. Like everything I did was on my own. I'm raising my children half of the time all on my own,
Mhm.
not with any family help. I don't have anyone babysitting for me. uh, you know I went back to school full time for another graduate degree, and had to hire a babysitter so I could go to school and come back, and all of that, from pocket, because I just don't have that family support. And I'm so proud that I did that. It gave me the confidence that I know I can take care of myself. I can take care of my family, and I do
Right.
not have to accept
Too high of a
abuse in
cost.
order to
Yeah, I'm
survive.
the same way.
Um,
I'm the same way.
yeah,
I
yeah.
have no family.
It's too high of a cost.
Literally, I just have my disabled daughter at home. She's an adult, and I do everything myself. Luckily, I had bought this condo So he couldn't hold that over my head. And I had my trucking career. So I have the financial
That's awesome.
means to, I mean, it's rough because now it's just one income and the economy keeps going up. But um, the sense of empowerment
Sure.
is, you can't put a price tag on that. And I've grown and come so far in these 9 months
Yeah.
and know who I am now and have the strength and love my own company. It gives me chills talking about it because I never thought I'd be here, and to not have to depend on anybody. It's been a rough road, but when you know that you can do it, you can get through anything. Because this was some hardcore stuff, a hardcore lesson. And now
Yes.
I'm building my own business from home too, and I want to help other women and men that are in these situations because that is a big part where a narcissistic abusive person will keep control over you, the finances, because they know your vulnerabilities, or they may,
Mhm.
get them pregnant
Mhm.
and then they're trapped because they're not working and taking care of the children. And so I'm always telling like my daughter's
Yep.
friends, I said, please
Yep.
don't center yourself around a boyfriend or a relationship. Center it around yourself. Get to know who you are. Get yourself a career and set up financially,
Mm.
and be a strong, independent person. And this goes for men too, young boys, because I wish I would have had that. I wish I would have discovered myself, out of high school, but now I'm going to take this pain and turn it around as you have and help others. I mean, there's a purpose. Hmm.
Yeah. I love that. I hear a lot in our circles being said that there is like a
Oh, yes, I
worldwide
saw a video about
narcissistic
that.
collapse that's happening
Yep.
right now. Um,
Yeah.
you can feel it because it's like we're communicating with each other, people's stories. I mean, like I'm here because I went down a rabbit hole of women getting divorced from their husbands and listening to their stories, and it's like,
Right.
wait a minute,
Right.
this is my story, except I'm the husband. And so if it wasn't for me hearing those stories of those women, those countless of women that are saying that I've been with this man for X amount of time, and they're showing pictures of themselves when they were with them, and then
Hmm.
after they're with them, they're unrecognizable, talking about all the, the whole pattern of abuse and the cycle. And it was like, wait a minute, they're not only sharing stories that sound like
Right.
mine, exact words are being used, like the exact same apologies, the exact same accusations,
Yes.
the exact same
They have the same
deflections, like
playbook.
word
It's the same
for
playbook.
word. It freaked me out.
Hmm.
It freaked me out. It's the same playbook. Um, and it was even like months in. We're going. I was in like post separation, and I still didn't understand like how bad it was. I remember having a conversation with a friend of mine, and he was telling me that he was talking to a client. He's an accountant, and I was sharing with him what like was going on in my life, and he told me, Marlon, like, I was just meeting with a client the other day, and if we just switched seats, like you were in my office and
Hmm.
he was here having lunch with me, your stories wouldn't be different. And it was like, and so all of this stuff like freaked me out, like more and more and more. I truly
Right.
thought that I was an anomaly. We're not an anomaly. We're not an anomaly. They're in our works, they're at our
Government.
school, they're in our churches, they're our
Mhm.
family members, and they don't work alone. And yeah, everywhere, and they don't work alone. And so there is, I think, a liberation, like a worldwide liberation that's happening because people realizing that, um, you know, people are surviving
Mhm.
this and people are going on to live amazing lives,
Mhm.
and that's worth the last fight I've got in me, and I'm so happy
Yes.
that that's the case for so many of us. Um, if there's one lesson you'd want our listeners to take away from our conversation
Protect your
today, what would it
peace
be?
at all cost. Be the gatekeeper, because if you don't have peace, your life is going to be chaos. And people that don't bring you peace and bring you chaos, those aren't your people. Peace is everything.
Thank you for that. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. This has been a great conversation. I did some research before our conversation, and I didn't realize how
Hmm.
similar our experience was. And it's been really great to talk to you and hear your experience. I've been talking to people at different stages of the healing process. And so it's good to see that you're 9 months out, and I know you're going to continue healing and living the life that you want to live. And I'm so thrilled that you're um, using this pain and turning it into something better. Can you share with our
Well, I
listeners
have
where
three
we can
different
connect with you?
TikToks. I had an old one because TikTok didn't refuse to change my birthday, so I couldn't take advantage of all the TikTok benefits and functionality of TikTok. So that one is it's shredding underscore silence. And then my new one is shredding with two underscores silence. And then I have my business that I'm trying to get off the ground. That's Glynis
Okay.
Digital. And that's across all platforms: TikTok, Instagram,
Okay.
YouTube.
Okay. And we'll make sure to put those in the show notes. But thank you again so much for sharing your insights with us today. And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this episode of Rising from the Shadows. Please don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. And wherever you go to listen your podcasts on, just go ahead and give us a 5-star rating. I greatly appreciate that. Remember that healing isn't the absence of shadows, it's learning to thrive in your own light. So rise today, rise tomorrow, and rise
Mhm.
always,
Thank you,
because the
Marlon.
shadow doesn't stand a chance.
If you're an event organizer, HR leader, or educator looking to bring a powerful voice to your stage, someone who speaks truth, ignites momentum, and empowers your audience to rise above what's held them back, then I want to talk to you. My keynote, Rising from the Shadows, is more than a talk. It's a transformative experience that shows people how to stop shrinking, start healing, and stand fully in their story. I've lived it, I teach it, I walk people through it. So if you're building a lineup of speakers who don't just talk but move people, head over to marlonwesh.com to create something unforgettable for your audience.